If you're running a business or you're considering founding one, then the topic of having a reoccurring income where you can relax is probably one that's on your mind on a regular basis. If you've either been asking yourself, like, how can I actually make consistent income without burning myself out? Or you've been contemplating, how can I increase my income so I can put some into savings or I can reinvest into my business? Income is a conversation, a topic that's on the mind of a lot of entrepreneurs. You're no longer in a space where somebody else is paying your monthly wage. So you've almost got to guarantee the amount that's dropping into your bank account every single month. When you're a business owner, it's not somebody else deciding how much money you're making. It is you deciding. And so this is a big shift for a lot of people going from an employed job to running their own business, is understanding that when you're a business owner, the only glass ceiling on your potential, income included, are the ones that you create. When you're employed by somebody else is deciding. But when you're the one who's in charge, you're the one deciding, whether it is conscious or otherwise. And so in this week's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you something that makes a really profound difference in creating reoccurring stable income that allows you not only to have the lifestyle you want and to put money to one side into savings, it also gives you the potential to reinvest into your business so that you're able to consistently grow. So welcome to this week's episode of Your Power Packed Podlets. My name is Rachel, and I'm your host for these short weekly podcasts for my purpose-driven women here to make a difference in the world. So I have a feeling that this week's episode is going to be pretty short because what I'm going to share with you is so simple, and I'm then going to invite you to go away and apply this very thing that I'm suggesting. But let me give you a little bit of context before I do. So for those of you who we're just getting to know each other, you won't have known that not that long ago, I was in a really challenging financial place. And not only that, I've lived a lifetime where struggling financially has kind of been a norm, where I've just got by, I've just been able to cover my expenses, but there's never been really enough to have a bit of wiggle room. And so I learned through a lifetime of how to live on a shoestring. Now, I've had a very abundant life. I won't go too much into it, but I've had the most incredible experiences and the types of experiences that people would pay a lot of money for, but I managed to create without requiring the money. So we can create abundance without money being an intermediary, and it is so useful to have plenty of it. So for someone like me to be able to say that I'm a six-figure business owner, for someone like me to be able to say that I've just had my first 30,000 euro cash month is a bigger deal than some of you may realize. That we hear a lot of people online talking about these really big numbers, but for somebody who used to struggle to cover rent that was 550 euros a month, 30,000 euros in a month is a really big deal. And so the journey going from struggling to pay rent to where I am now, so much has changed. And there has been one key thing that I've carried with me throughout the process of evolving and healing my relationship with money that has made the biggest difference. And not only this, I've observed in all of the people that have gone from struggling financially to results that few people can understand, this has also been a very common theme. Those of you who are familiar with Regan Hillier, I invite you, if you haven't yet, to also listen to her story, because she did something very, very similar, and look at where she is now. And the thing that we all do, that potentially you're already doing, but maybe you could up it a little bit, maybe you could turn up the volume or turn up the temperature, is that we're in conversations around numbers and money every single day. Now, for some of you, this might sound like, oh, I don't want to be talking about money all of the time. When you think about talking about money, listening to money, contemplating on money, understanding money, talking about numbers that stretch you, numbers that feel small, all of the different numbers, if just thinking about that on a regular basis cause it an emotion or a feeling in you, there is a block you want to be looking at. And the reason that being in money conversations on a regular basis, whether it's about investing money, losing money, making money, raising prices, savings, whatever the conversation may be, the more we talk about a subject and we're able to do it through a very specific lens, the less we have feelings and emotions around it. Because how can we understand something if we are not contemplating upon it enough? Because often it's not what you're doing that gets in the way of consistent reoccurring income. It is how you think and feel about money, which impacts how you interact with it. It impacts how you sell in your business, how much you charge for your services, the type of boundaries you have with clients when it comes to receiving payments. There are so many subtle ways that our relationship with something impacts the receiving and the having of it that we're not consciously aware of until we are in regular conversation with it. And it's not, for me, it didn't happen overnight, where after just a few weeks of having money conversations, suddenly I saw things changing. I had so much programming that was deeply ingrained on a cellular level around money, abundance, worthiness, and people having money being bad humans. There was an Indian Cree saying on the bathroom in my house where I grew up that said the following: "It is only when the last tree has been chopped down, the last fish has been eaten, and the last river has dried up will we realize we cannot eat money." And so I grew up with this perception that money was bad. And I lived out in everything that I was doing as a business owner. How can we thrive when our perception of the very thing that helps us to grow is that it's evil, bad, and wrong? And so at the beginning of the journey, my process was facing so much conditioning around money, so much resistance, so many triggers before I started to feel at ease. Now, everybody has a different starting point with these types of conversations, but some of you might believe that the only way to make good money is to grind and push. Some of you will believe that the only way to make good money is by being at the top, or by being like somebody that you don't want to be. Because it's the very things that come up for us when we're in conversation around something. It could be money, it could be your body, it could be food, it could be love. When you have a trigger or a feeling, that shows you where you are not in your power. Anytime we contract, we go into fear, lack, scarcity, victimhood, or blaming, or pointing the finger and labeling as bad and wrong, that is a mirror that we want to hold up to ourselves and see where we are in lack, fear, and scarcity. Because abundance cannot be created from the frequency of scarcity. Abundance cannot be created from the frequency of contraction and fear. If we want to expand into greater levels, we must learn what it is to observe where we are contracting. That place where you are making reoccurring, repeatable income and you are feeling very safe with the money that you're receiving, holding, and investing, that is a point in your journey where you feel very neutral around money. Money can be going up or down, in or out. You could be investing, receiving, having conversations with it, and your feeling remains the same. You feel trust. You trust your capacity to make it. You trust money will always come to you in the amounts above and beyond what you need. You trust when you invest, it will come back tenfold. It is a place of neutrality and trust. And it is from this place, can you imagine building, running, and evolving in your business where you're no longer having emotional responses to the conversation around something that is essential for your business to thrive? And so this is where conversations around this very thing on a regular basis helps you grow. It helps you to see where you are not in your power. It helps you to see where you are holding on to conditioning and stories that are limiting your growth. It helps you to see where you attach a meaning of good, bad, right, or wrong, because everything in life is neutral. We as human beings are the ones that attach meaning. We attach meaning, story, and feeling, and that is how we live out our reality. So if you're not currently in conversations around money, that not only show you what is possible, they also trigger you. They also make you feel small. They also show you where you're playing small. It is these conversations that will take you to your next level. It is not about them always being comfortable. It is not about them always feeling expansive. Sometimes it will be that mirror where you get to see where you are not yet expanding. And this is not a bad thing. So let me leave you with this thought. When we approach this topic from a place of pure curiosity, looking to the outside world to give us evidence of what we've not thought to contemplate upon yet, looking to the outside world to give us evidence of new and different ways to run our businesses, to grow, to serve at greater and greater levels, when you are looking for that, you will find it in the most unexpected of places. So let me leave you with a question. What are the conversations you've not yet partaken in? Who are the people that have financial wisdom that you can tap into? Where are the business owners, the people who are growing the businesses in ways that for you currently feel like they're impossible? And what are ways you can get into those spaces and learn from those humans? Is it networking events? Is it entering a coaching container? Is it reading a book? Is it watching a documentary? Is it going to and paying for a gym that costs, just stretches you a little bit more financially, but you're surrounded with more people where the financial frequency vibrates differently, where those thought forms around another level of income being normal, that's where they exist. So what is it for you? If something inspiring comes to you, maybe you want to drop that in the comments. Other people will read them and that will give them ideas too. Maybe you want to read other people's comments so you can see what they're choosing to do. I invite you to support one another in this community, give each other ideas, inspire one another, support each other, because this journey of entrepreneurship, it can feel really lonely sometimes. When you are somebody who has the mindset of creating life on your own terms and doing things differently, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're surrounded by others who have the same way of viewing the world. So find those communities, find those people who expand you and show you what is possible, because it's that repeated on a regular basis that changes the way you think and the way that you move. So we're going to sign off for today. I look forward to connecting with you next week for another episode of your Power Packed Podlets.